Hello and welcome to an episode of Showcase on Bloodborn. Congratulations! If you can see this part of the game, you've defeated one of the hardest bosses in modern gaming. Your reward? The Kos Parasite. Or is it Cosm? When the carcass of the Kos washed up on the coast, it indicates it are insides where it's teeming with tiny parasites unlike any found in humans. Any typical weapon can only be used in collapse and tight and swing, but a Kos Parasite is said to simulate phantasm inhibiting lumen wood. I'm not even gonna dawn and think about that one. Moving on. Well, visually, you can pull the weapon and wait a minute. The fuck is it? I have it here. I have it equipped. You can see right there. Oh wait, that's right. You gotta have a special rune when you defeat the Orphan of Kos. You gotta get the Milkweed rune equipped. And of course, when you equip it, you look like a freaking leper, or I don't know, a fungal leper. But anyway, here's the weapon here. Visually, it looks like a squid that's grasping onto your arm really tightly, like it has abandonment issues. I'm not sure how else to describe this, other than a molt of flesh just melting off you. Now, when you use the weapon, it's kind of more like a whip. No other better way to describe that, a tentacle whip. And you move very strangely, but that's kind of the milkweed's fault. You can see for power attacks here, it's just an uppercut with the whip. The charge attack is more of a heavy lash with multiple hits. Could be powerful. Could be. Alright. Now some dodge weird animations. You can see that we vomit if we do the plain step back attack. It actually has poison in it, which we'll test later. Power attack is just a quick whip when you do a light step back. A light roll is a quick forward whip. I'm not sure how to else pronounce these or call them. And the power rolling attack is the same as usual. And you got the plunge attack, which is actually a headbutt. You don't even use your weapon. You literally just bunch your head against your opponent. And then you got the switch attack, which you can see you pretty much get dual whips, and it's no longer a squid, but like, I don't know, something unquestionable. So normal attacks, you're pretty much hitting them with, you attack people with your tendrils, your tentacle fingers. Power attack wise, you pretty much send them going forward in a wiggling fashion. There is no power attack though, for this for the dual form. Light attack is, you can see light step back attack is a vomit. Same as usual, and the heavy light step attack is just pretty much whipping your fingers at someone. Light rolling attack is the same thing, just protruding it all forward. Heavy rolling attack, nothing new. And you can see the plunge attack is you whipping your tongue out. What a freaking weird animation set this is. Now for the special move, you can see it's a bit of an AoE attack, assuming 2 quicksilver bullets, multiple hits. Then you got the quick switch attack, you can switch back attack, which you just whip slugs out of it. Like, this is unique in terms of animations. This is something out of a freaking... Well, I don't even bother. But anyway, you can see with the dodge animations, it's because of the milkweed rune, not your weapon. But if you want to use those animations, you gotta get used to it. Moving on to the stats for the Kos Parasite. Now, physical damage you can see it's only arcane, and holy shit, that is such a low amount of damage. Only 30. Good news is he has a good play. Bonus damage compared to that, 23. So yeah, not much damage. Moving on from that, the special stats, you can see that it consumes 2 quicksilver bullets. That is the special move that consumes 2, which is very little and does plenty of damage, as you'll see. For trigger bonus, it only has 1 bonus, and that is the scaling for arcane. Yeah, and it's A right off the bat, which will become an S. It's one of the few weapons to do this. And the tribute requirement, you'll need only 20 arcane, so it goes without saying, but only arcane builds can successfully use this weapon. Only arcane builds. Everyone else pretty much will just give up, get out, and don't bother. Now, when upgrading the Kos Parasite, you don't get much in terms of upgrade. Like, physical damage, you can only get 3. That is bad. That is laughable. Bonus damage-wise, not much better, 4 to 3. You can see the true bonus already went to an S in arcane, but man, look at this. It's bad. Sure, the bonus damage has surpassed the physical damage. It's rare to have that when just doing plain upgrading, but you don't get a whole lot of damage out of it. Or so it would seem. And you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. There's plenty of hidden secrets to this weapon. And when if you want to, you can add fire damage. It won't be very much, so I argue one shouldn't do it at all, but it's possible. Just not very wise. Now, when moving on to performance, with it just fully upgraded, you can see here that, oh, despite the low damage it claims, it's not terrible. It's adequate. So yeah. So that's already adequate damage. But now I want to test that poison. If you don't recall, we can vomit using the light step back attack. And it's a poison attack. How many attacks does it take for a plain old Unarmed guy? Of course, it's awkward to use. So that's 1 hit. And that's 2 hit. And he's poisoned. So it was relatively quick. Although damage-wise, it's not super quick. But it is something. It is there, and it could be useful. Depending on which foe you fight. Although it did not kill him. Whatever. Okay, enough of that. I want to test the trick version, which I'll be reviewing both weapons and tandem in one, since there's not a whole lot of change, and a whole lot of point to this plain version. Alright, so you can see that the special attack here does a tremendous amount of damage, and has a very long range of almost 2 meters around you, if not a little bit greater. So that's pretty darn powerful, and you saw how quick it was. Now, the only other big downside to this weapon I find is the awkward animations. They're so different. Like, I use Logarius' wheel and I struggled to use that, but this weapon is not a struggle to use, it's just... what's the word? I would say strange, unorthodox. It's weird, but that goes for your opponent as well. If you're on PvP, his weapon's probably a hassle to deal with. Not a lot of players are familiar with it. But against execution now, the animations are just fast enough for me to keep up with him. Not so slow, but I tried to poison him, but his poison resistance is significantly stronger than a plain old Unarmed. And I couldn't really poison him, despite multiple hits. Maybe it's just he kept debuffing it too quickly that I can apply it. So in the end, I just used the plain old, I'm not sure what to call it, the Phantasm attack? And it looks pretty good. Next question, Armored Buddy. They don't really have any arcane resistance. So, you do a decent amount of damage, but still, the weapons not really have the DPS to really do the damage needed. And the trick version actually doesn't add any more damage, as you see. I think with the trick version, it doesn't get more stronger. Its AoE just simply gets larger. But of course, you got the Phantasm attack. Alright, so, question is now, is it any good against, say, the Armored Maiden? Well, let's find out. As we can see here, that it's good enough for attacking groups, just not so much one-on-one. Now, when fighting the Armored Maiden, it's going to be a little tricky, especially with these crappy camera angles phasing into stuff. But luckily, the weapon has a decent length. Most attacks are within the realm of 1 meter to 1.5 meters, so it's a good reach there. Better reach than most other physical weapons. And even if I do have a little guy interrupting me, I can just use the Phantasm attack, although you can be staggered out of it. I'm not sure what's the level of stagger that would interrupt it, but it does happen. Where I have some enemies, my poise is not interrupted. Other enemies with weapons like these do interrupt my poise. So it's a very gray line, if you will. But otherwise, I noticed another thing. As you see here, this weapon's excellent at staggering opponents. Like, really good. Not so much gigantic opponents, but medium to small. Everyone gets staggered, like, constantly. So it prevents any counterattacks. This works out pretty well, if you think about it. But now, to fight something that's not a good idea. Shadow of Unarmed, for example. An opponent that's incredibly nimble, incredibly swift, and has good reach with their own weapon. Where I can keep up with an Armored Maiden, it's actually a bit of a more struggle to keep up with the Shadows of Unarmed. As much as their attacks don't interrupt my poise, I take serious damage if I don't be careful with where I select my attacks. There are far better weapons to use against the Shadow of Unarmed. I think they have some arcane resistance. Some, it's not a huge amount, if any. If not, then their mobility makes it a real hassle to fight them with. Other than that, I think I kind of went over all the things about this weapon, at least on the face value. There's a little bit more to this weapon. So here it is with all the gems fitted, and you're probably wondering, why are you showing me this now? Aren't you doing this after Prone Collins? But there's a reason for that. Now, here's the base damage. For comparison, you can see you only get 68 bonus, or roughly that. But you can see here, I got 118, so I doubled it. Big whoop, that's not a huge jump in damage there. But that's where you're wrong. I'm not sure what it is from this weapon, but the multiplier from the bonus damage is significant. So base damage is what I expect. Okay, the base damage is fine, that's plain, that's moderately stronger. Not huge, but expected. But the Phantasm attack, that got almost double damage. Now, just doubling your bonus shouldn't do that. But going from 500 to nearly 900, that is significant. That is a lot. So I'm not sure what the bonus is, multiplier for that. I couldn't find any concrete numbers, but it's significant. That's a huge upgrade. So yeah, you know about your penalty damage is what I expected. About roughly 1.5. The Phantasm is around 1.9 and 1.8 times damage. So yeah. But wait, I'm not even done yet. Now you know at the beginning you don't even have the weapon equipped. Well, it's still there. For instance, you can see I do roughly 50 damage unarmed. So yeah, that's usually what it is. It's pretty useless. But wait, switch to your Kos Parasite while unarmed in plain form. It's still there. It's still very well there and still causing damage. So if you ever had someone unarmed beating the shit out of you in PvP, this is why. They're an arcane user with that Kos Parasite still currently equipped. The thing about unarmed attacks are, they're quick. Like DPS quick. Like majority weapons don't any match that. So that's the nice thing, is even if you yourself is equipped, and arguably it's just as effective as a weapon even without your Milkweed Rune equipped, it is still quite effective. It is quick. It's fairly quick, and you can get those power attacks in just as quick as any other weapon, if not more. And I believe that's all information, so let's move on to the pros and cons to Kos Parasite. On the pros, one of its many advantages. For starters, it has excellent reach, most attacks being over a meter or a meter and a half, and the Phantasm being almost 2 meters. The weapon causes constant staggering to medium to small opponents. We're pretty much nullifying most chances for a counterattack. The weapon, if you don't use the Milky Rune, is pretty much a hidden, well, dastardly weapon that you can use that's quite powerful. And the bonus multiplier for that Phantasm attack, as I mentioned earlier, is quite extravagant. It is quite large, quite powerful. So yeah. Alright, and the weapon is excellent for both crowd control. Pretty much is only designed for crowd control in my opinion, but it can be used in one-on-ones just as effectively, I think. Alright, now I think that's all the pros. Going on to the cons. The weapon has incredibly odd and a little bit awkward animations. I think they're more odd than awkward, but still, it takes time to get used to. But that also goes for your opponent, so that can be used to your benefit. So it's kind of pro-ish con. Next con, you gotta defeat one of the hardest bosses in modern gaming to get it. Yeah, we mustn't forget about that one. Yeah, the Orphan of Kos is not exactly easy to beat. It is not. At least I did not find it easy to beat. Alright, and the scaling for this weapon is lacking. You don't get a whole lot of points out of it. You get very little. Alright, and I think that's pretty much it for the cons. And if I did forget anything, chances are I'll be putting it after the fact. Let's go on to the score. Damage, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. The damage is significant, especially if you put in those gems. The AoE is also excellent as well, so pretty much reach gets an 8 out of 10 for that. Multiple areas of good reach. This weapon is pretty much puts you in a safe area most of the time, and even more so with the stagger. Animation, I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. Now, if it wasn't for how awkward they are and kind of like how you dodge being an issue, it would be a 10 out of 10. But because they're a little awkward to use, that's kind of where it really draws it back for me. Bonus, a 5 out of 10. It works really well. You got blood gems, but without the blood gems, it's significantly hampered. Miscellaneous, I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. This weapon has incredibly many advantages to it. Stagger, excellent reach. When you're friggin' handling Milky Ruin, it still works effectively as Kung Fu. What color? Where can I use this? You become a kung fu master. Your arcane build, a kung fu master. So in total, I give the Kos Parasite 38 out of 50. It's an excellent weapon. A must use for any arcane user, and if you're an arcane user, you're already using it. You don't need me to tell you to do so. So, that's the reason why this video is a little bit longer. This weapon has a lot under the hood. Is it the best weapon in the game? Well, actually, it might be a good contender for it. It just takes a lot of work to get it, to get the build, and get everything else done correctly. Even so, my blood gems are not even designed for arcane. I only have physical ones that are good, not really arcane ones, so pretty darn good weapon given my equipment. But that's been Showcase for today. I'd like to thank you all for watching. Hope to see you guys next time. Take care out there.